Good morning, my little love bugs. I hope that you had a fabulous week of some fun filled family time and that you had some great adventures. I'm sure you did. My adventures here were with Madden and Maximus. Border is on vacation with my parents right now, so I do have Woogie and Baker too, so lots of adventures with paws going on around here. But today, before I read you a short story, we're going to talk about dialogue. The reason I'm bringing up dialogue is because as we move into our new reading, do you hear the adventures with Maximus and Baker in there? They're playing tag. As we move into our new reading unit, reading and writing unit, which is writing about reading, dialogue is really important in your reading and in your writing. We're going to be talking about how authors use dialogue to make a story clearer in your mind. And they also, when you write as an author, it makes your writing more exciting for others. Now, it's important when we use dialogue to make sure that we use it correctly in our writing. Sally cried, comma, "Don't go over there." So the speaking words or the talking words, that's the dialogue. That goes inside the quotation marks. That's why they're circled, just so they would stand out to you, not that you have to circle them in your writing. And this comma is important because it separates text from dialogue. That's why that comma is there. Now, dialogue can come at the end of a sentence or the beginning, sometimes in the middle. Here it is at the beginning. "Time for dinner, comma, Mom yelled down to us." Because what she yelled down to us was time for dinner. That's what she said out of her mouth. That goes in the quotation marks. And lastly, another example. "We all listened as Bob chanted, comma, I am the winner." What he said was I am the winner, so that goes in the quotation marks. Oh my goodness, did I forget to sing our song? What was I thinking? We have to have our song. So, before our story, let's make sure we have our song. Good morning, good morning, good morning, how are you? I'm fine, and I hope that you are too. I'm so glad to see you. I almost couldn't wait. Can you smile that smile and make today great? Did you sing with me? I almost forgot that. How could I forget that? It's my favorite part. Okay, so we've shown some examples of dialogue in your writing, how to use it correctly. Make sure you separate the text and the actual talking words with a comma. And then you put the talking words, what's spoken out of a mouth, inside the quotation marks. Okay? That's when you're writing with dialogue. Well, now I want to show you an example of dialogue and how as a reader it's really important. So I'm going to put you a little closer. This is actually the very first I'm counting punctuation, 2 sentences in our story. This is the opening. It's a bold beginning, right? Dialogue is an option for bold beginning. And in this example, it says, I see a quotation mark here, all the way to here. So all of this is spoken. All of this is dialogue. It's 2 sentences that were spoken, 2 lines of text or 2 lines of dialogue that were spoken by a character in the story. So you don't put quotation marks at the end of the sentence if they're still talking. You keep going till they're done. Oh, I'm sorry. They said I missed this punctuation, didn't I? There's 1, 2, 3 sentences in this opening. And 1, 2, and a half of them are dialogue. Mrs. Hamilton, I need a new piece of paper. I don't like my drawing. I drew the house too small, moaned the new student standing at my desk. So that's the opening to our story for today. As a reader, I can get a lot from this. So, as a reader, I ask myself these kinds of questions. Who said it? Well, if I look in there, can you guys tell who said it? Who's doing the talking? It's a new student. So a new student said it. Who did they say it to? Do you see who they said it to? Mrs. Hamilton. That's who they said it to. How did they say it? They moaned. So that should be a clue as to how they're feeling. What did they say? That's all of the words out of their mouth. They said they need a new piece of paper. They don't like their drawing. They drew their house too small. What do we know overall? Well, from this, I can infer, which means I can make an educated guess based on what's here, that this new student is really upset about something they drew because they are moaning and everything they said is negative. I am also going to guess or infer that Mrs. Hamilton is the teacher. I have two reasons I think this, and I haven't read this story yet. One, the new student is asking her for a piece of paper. And two, the new student is standing at the desk of Mrs. Hamilton. So if Mrs. Hamilton has a desk there, I'm going to guess or infer that Mrs. Hamilton is the teacher. What I don't know yet is she an art teacher? Or was the child doing a project inside the regular classroom? I don't know that yet. I'll have to find out. That would be a question that I could jot down, that I'm wondering. It's a wonder. All right. So this shows how much we can get out of dialogue as readers. Dialogue is really important as a reader and as a writer, like we already talked about. So the story I'm going to read to you today is a short story from a book. Let me turn you this way just a little bit. From a book of short stories that are all together. So let me look at the table of contents. There are 101 stories in this book. That's a lot. But they're really short. And it's called Chicken Soup for the Soul. Think Positive for Kids. 101 stories about good decisions, self-esteem, and positive thinking. And I have not read the story yet that I'm going to read to you today. This book was actually a gift to me from a former student at High Point. Her name is Rachel Hauser. She's a lot older now, but the little card that went with the book is still inside of it. I saved it. Okay, this story is called The Art of Mistakes. And I want you to really listen for the dialogue in this story. It's very, very short. This page and this page, very short story, but it's filled with dialogue. So I want you to be thinking about how the dialogue makes the story clearer in your mind. The Art of Mistakes. Mrs. Hamilton, I need a new piece of paper. I don't like my drawing. I drew the house too small, moaned the new student standing at my desk. He showed me his artwork, which reflected 20 minutes of diligent effort and advanced artistic skill for a fifth grader. You have so much detail already completed. Let's see if we can think of a way to fix it, I emphasized. Mistakes are often a great opportunity to enhance your artwork. So who's saying that? The teacher, right? She's trying to make him see that they can maybe turn it into something else because they've worked so hard already. Students I'd had the previous year, some since kindergarten, knew two of the guiding principles in my art room. Aha, there was my wonder if it was an art room or if it was the regular classroom. It's the art room. Two of the guiding principles in my art room were creative exploration and self-expression. New students were often insecure and easily frustrated, which sometimes led to torn up papers or smashed clay. Let me tell you about a mistake I made while creating a wall mural in someone's house, I began. One was a painting in a little girl's bathroom. After spending the morning planning and sketching, I painted a dog. I made him over 4 feet tall so that it looked like he was holding the bar for her towel. Gesturing with a paintbrush in the air for emphasis, I went on. While I was putting the finishing touches on the black dog collar, the paint dripped on part of the wall where I was not supposed to paint. Nearby students exchanged smiles and stopped what they were doing to listen to my story. It was a wall. I couldn't throw it away and start over, I said, dramatically to stress the extent of my crisis. I had to figure out a way to fix it. I paused a few moments to give him time to consider what he would have done, and then I continued. So I studied the painting for a while until I thought of a way to cover the spot. I added a red heart-shaped dog tag over it and included the little girl's initials. Did the little girl like the painting? The new student asked. The next day, my client called to tell me her daughter loved the painting, and she was thrilled when she spotted her initials on the dog tag. I replied, accentuating the solution to the problem. So, when you make a mistake, make something good out of it. And then all of the other kids chanted, so when you make a mistake, make something good out of it. Who has heard this before? I said to them. Since retiring from teaching art in the public schools 5 years ago, I've maintained a friendship with some of my students and their families. I recently overheard two of my past students, now in college, reminiscing about their experiences in my classes. They both chanted, when you make a mistake, make something good out of it. And that story is called The Art of Mistakes by Marianne Hamilton. That story was completely about dialogue. The student talking to the teacher telling a story to the student, and then the other students chiming in with a chant at the end. Without dialogue, that story would not have been as special as it was. All right, you guys. I think that story also had a really good lesson that we can turn our mistakes into something good, can't we? Okay, I leave you with this. I want you to really, really hone in on the dialogue in any stories you are reading today or over this week. We will talk more about it as we go into this reading unit. And when you are writing, try to include dialogue. It really makes the story become more clear to the readers. All right, I hope you have a great day. I miss you all. Bye.